Hi everybody, this is a video to show you how to take through Design Space this bundle of 3 SVGs which lets you make these nice packaging bags. The SVG includes 3 different shapes of bag. You've got this flared one which is very wide at the bottom, narrows slightly at the top but is quite deep. Those are the dimensions. You can see it's 270 tall, 260 wide at the base and 100 mil deep at the base. That's the same bag from the side. That's the same bag open without the handle being pushed through and locked closed. This pic shows the handle. It folds through from the lid through the holes in all the layers, and you can stick it down at the back if you want to actually seal the bag. This is the wide bag, so it's straight sides but very wide. It's as wide as the flared one all the way up. Same sizes otherwise, except the width is all the way up. Obviously it's 270 wide at the top as well. Closes in exactly the same way. That little tab folds all the way through and locks at the back there up at the top. This shows the narrow bag open before it's been closed, quite like this little pretty one. There it is. This one is 180 mil wide, so still a decent bag. 180. It's let's have a look at my ruler. Yeah, it's getting on for 7.5 inches wide and 270 tall, which is getting on for 11 inches tall nearly, and it's 80 mil deep, which is just over 3 inches deep. So that's quite a good bag as well. They all have this window opening, which is sealed with a PVC sheet. But of course, if you want a plain bag or you want to do print then cut with it to brand it or anything, or just print on it, you could contour that hole out in Design Space and have a solid bag. Okay, let's bring them into Design Space and see how they go. I'm going to bring the flared bag in first. It's a large SVG, as you can see. It's over 1 meter wide on the canvas. So if you're using this in canvas workspace or any of the silhouettes and you need advice on reducing it down, just get in touch. There are some videos already on YouTube about that, but if you want to see it for this particular bag, just let me know. Okay, so as usual, the first thing we've got to do with any multi-part file that's got score lines is we need to convert those lines that come in as cuts but which we need to be scores. We can't make them come into Design Space already set to score. With my SVGs, they always live in this first group in the layers panel over here on the right. And so the way to select them is just to click on the name of the group, which is always that second line down in your layers panel. Even if it's a single piece file and there's only one set of scores, you click on that second line down in your layers panel. Once that's selected, go to your operations menu and choose score from the drop down. And you can see that those lines get converted, and while they're still selected we need to ungroup them. I'm on the PC version for desktop. I'm on the desktop version for PC even, so for me ungroup is at the top of the layers panel. Next step is to select the group below, which contains all the cut pieces and any cuts within them. All we need to do here is ungroup. And the third step is to select everything on screen and ungroup a third time. You can select everything in a number of different ways. You can do what I just did, click right at the top of the layers panel, or you can use this select all button, or you can just drag a box to enclose everything. So now everything on canvas is a separate piece, and we can attach the score lines to the individual pieces that they relate to. You have to do it that way. If you select the whole SVG and attach it, you'll end up with a message from Design Space telling you that the project is incompatible and you can't cut it. But that's just because you've created an attached piece which is way too big to fit on a mat. So you're just going to select individual pieces in the score lines, and I think the quickest way to do that is just to click on screen, whoops a daisy, clicked on the guide there, click on screen somewhere near a piece, drag a box to more or less enclose it, and choose attach. For me, that's at the bottom of the layers panel. And you need to do that for every piece on canvas that has score lines. And for this particular project, that is both walls, the back of the bag. Did I do that one? No, I didn't. That's the lid, or the flap that comes over from the back, and this is the front of the bag. The base of the bag and the PVC window doesn't have any score lines. Okay, so let's click make it and see what we need. This bag will cut from 12 by 12. If you're cutting it from 12 by 12, you would need 4 sheets, just slightly less than 4 sheets. And then for the PVC piece, it won't fit on A4. So, well, actually, look at it. Let's just go back and have a quick look at that. It's 19.96 centimetres wide, so actually you could cut that from A4. It's just that Design Space will tell you that you can't. So we'll just go back. We'll make those 12 by 12 again. And down here, we can't choose A4, so we're going to choose 12 by 12 again. But if you put a piece of A4 landscape on your standard mat, and you just drop it a couple of millimetres away from that very first white line on your cutting mat, you'll have a tiny bit of extra space down here, which means it will fit on. I mean, there's a good 11 millimetres, which is well over a third of an inch, so it will cut. It's just that because Design Space likes to have big margins on things, it will tell you it can't. So if you're cutting from 12 by 12, you need 4 sheets and an A4 sheet or a larger piece of acetate for the window. Acetate or PVC. I buy A3 PVC binder sheets from Amazon. They're 180 micron and they're fantastic. They were so cheap. I'll put a link to them in the PDF instructions that comes with your download so that you'll know where to buy them. Right, so that's the flared bag. I'm not going to cut it, so we'll just delete it. And I'll bring in the wide one now. So this is the one that's just same width as the flared bag at the bottom, but that width, excuse me, that width goes all the way to the top. So it's made in exactly the same way. You've got a front, a back, 2 walls, a lid that comes over from the back, and a bag base. You do get a PDF of instructions, by the way, showing you how to assemble this bag. It's not difficult, it's a quick job, but you get a PDF with lots of instructions and photographs to help you. Okay, so again, we need to select that first subgroup in the layers panel, which contains all the lines that we need to convert to scores. Once that's selected, go to your operations menu, choose score from the drop down, and because there's more than one set, we can see there's a lot in that group, we need to ungroup them. Second step, select all the cut pieces, the group that contains all the cut pieces, and ungroup that one. And then finally select everything on screen however you want to do it and ungroup a third time. And now everything is separate so we can attach individual scores to individual pieces. So I'm just clicking on canvas somewhere near a piece and choosing attach. If you're on PC, you might like to get used to using Alt A, which is a really fast way to do attach rather than going backwards and forwards. I tend to do that now. And again, as before, the base and the PVC window don't have any scores. So let's click make it. I think it should make from the same amount of paper because it's that width that's significant. Yeah. So again, 4 sheets of a 12 by 12, pardon me, 4 sheets of 12 by 12 for the main bag body. And that will definitely still cut from 1 sheet of A4 if you follow the instructions I gave you earlier on in the video. Or letter, of course, if that's what size your PVC comes in. Okay, so I'm not going to make the big one. And now I'll bring in the narrow one. So this is the same height as both bags, but it's a narrower width. I quite like this little cute one. I think this could be really quite useful, especially as a piece of product packaging. So I'll just zoom in a bit so we can see. So again, same first step, we have to select the lines that we need to convert to scores. Click on the second line down in your layers panel to select the whole group. Go to your operations menu, choose score from the drop down, and while they're still selected, ungroup them. Second step, select the group that contains all the cut pieces and ungroup those. Third step, select the whole SVG and ungroup that. And now we can attach individual scores to the pieces that they relate to. I'm using Alt A on my keyboard there. Okay, so let's hit make it, see what we need. So we'll choose 12 by 12 again and see what happens. We need 3 sheets in this case, 3 sheets of 12 by 12, and for sure that will cut from an A4 sheet of acetate or PVC, whatever you're using. I'm just wondering, I thought we might be able to choose A4. I'm just going to go back to the canvas and have a look. So we know that will cut from A4. Obviously that would. How big is that? Yeah, I mean, this would cut from A4 for sure. How big is that? Yeah, it wouldn't cut from letter. Too long for letter. Yeah, too long for letter, sadly. But if you're in Europe and you're using A4, you would be able to squeeze this whole bag out of A4 card. You would have to do the little trick I did earlier. So let's just we choose 12 by 12. And what you would have to do is, yeah, I wonder if it's worth it. But if you wanted to use A4, you could do. You would just have to do something which meant, yeah, so what you'd do is you'd maybe hide that one. It won't let you choose A4, but you'd choose 12 by 12 and then you would stick a piece of A4. It's very economically moved that up because I've hidden the other one. Yeah. What you would have to do if you wanted to cut these from A4 is you'd maybe have to send each little piece individually, or what I tend to do to make sure things end up on a mat on their own. I just make them, if I can. Let me just select that piece, then you have to select it in the layers panel. I'll just make that one purple. I'm going to make that wall green. I'll leave that blue. I'll leave those bits the colour they are. And now hopefully we should be able to know. No, that one will need to change. I'm going to make that red. Just to try and split things up the way I want it on the mat. So now if we click make it, we know we can't choose A4 for these big pieces. So we're going to choose 12 by 12. But you could absolutely put a piece of A4 on your mat there. Just again, drop it a couple of millimetres away from that very first white line. And you'd have a little bit more to play with here. Same with this, you'd have to choose 12 by 12. The reason you can't have two on there, of course, is your A4 sheet is too narrow. And then here we will... What happens? Yeah. So you'd have to go back and change that wall as well, because it won't let you create a new mat at this stage to put that one on. But you get the idea. If you want to choose A4, those two would go together on an A4, no problem. You would need to make that wall a different colour from those two. But as it actually cuts quite nicely from 12 by 12, I wouldn't worry about it too much. It's 3 sheets of 12 by 12. Okay, I hope that's reasonably easy to follow. When you come to cut it, if you have any difficulties, please don't hesitate to get in touch. You can contact me on Etsy or Facebook, however you prefer it, and the links to do that are in the description below. And if you just stumbled across this video and you'd like to buy the SVG, the link to do that is also there in the description below. You get a link to the listing on the Tanglecrafts Studio Etsy shop. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye.